So I have got out, I've got a folded over piece of paper that I'm going to work on, probably A5 for the butterflies. I've got stuff everywhere today. I've got a big piece of paper that I'm going to try with the warm-up-y thing that I'm thinking of doing. I might do it on a half sheet actually, rather than a big one. And for that, I am going to use a fine liner. And I'm probably going to grab the 0.8 one because I want quite a fat line. So I'm going to get that nice and ready. I've got my clean bottle of water. I'm not sure I've got a mixing palette. Let's have a little bit of a fertile. They all might have bits of colouring. Yeah. They do, except for maybe this one. I'll use that one. And then it's the using all my bits of colours up. That is awesome. So how have your days been? What have you been up to? If you can leave me a comment while I open my can of Dr. Pepper. Ooh, that sounds really loud. Good. Has anybody been out in the garden? It's been really hot to be out in the garden today, but a good day to do it if you like being out in the sun. I've got my tissue and I wanted that little triangle. Okay. This is a little version of the kind of warm-up that I did. And I did a couple of different things on there. And I'm feeling quite jittery tonight, whether that's the caffeine or finding the poor bloke who wasn't very well earlier, I don't know. But I do feel a little bit, oh, Erica, what colour did you paint your fence? I have washed my hands and cleaned my nails, but I seem to just constantly be finding bits of paint under them or pencil and stuff. So this one I'm hoping... Oh, I don't know whether that's bad or good, Bernie. I mean, it's bad, but also good because you didn't have to work. But if you've got lots to catch up on, that's not so good. Oh, green sounds lovely, Erica. Our fence is really bright blue. I want to paint our shed something like purple, but we haven't been able to get a decent amount of purple fence paint. So, that's not super expensive. So they're just orangey coloured. That orangey wood colour. So I was thinking we'd start with doing this exercise because I could do with getting myself into the right kind of state for doing a bit of painting. Yeah, Bernie, I think that's where I'll be. Good today, bad tomorrow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The idea with this is that we are following or drawing our breath with the pen to start with. So I started and it doesn't matter where, anywhere. And on my inhale, I started in the middle of a spiral and went as like an inhale. And then when I got to needing to exhale, I went up. And as I need to inhale again, I just went down. And then as I need to exhale, I changed direction again. I find it most soothing when I move my pen quite slowly. So, inhale. And then exhale. And then the next thing I did was I actually held my pen, took the lid off because I prefer it with the lid off, and held it a bit closer to the end. So, in. And then out. And in and out. So that's kind of the basics of what we're going to do, and I'm just using a 0.8 fine liner. It's best, this works best if the pen is one that isn't going to react with water. So if you don't have a pen that you know isn't going to react with water, I might have used a Posca pen actually, a Posca paint pen rather than a fine liner. In fact, I almost certainly would have, because my Posca paint pen is way better at not reacting with water. If you don't have that, you could use a black biro. You could use a pencil crayon, like a Prismacolor crayon, that's like oily based and isn't going to react with water. So we're just going to start with that idea of using a line to represent our breath and breathing with the line, so that we kind of just to focus in on our breathing and to basically breathe in and out at this point. So I'm going to just start again, and I'm going to start over here. And I'm doing, for me in breath, I'm just starting off with going into the spiral. And just breathe, as I breathe in, make the spiral. And then as I need to breathe out, just come down. And then as I need to breathe in again, just follow it up. And as I need to breathe out again, come back down. I found that when I slowed my pen down, I quite like that. But you can move your pen as fast or slow as you want to at this point. But I'm just going to keep doing some in and out breaths until I kind of join this bit here or get across my page. So when I'm taking an in breath, this time I would go up. And then out breath, come down. And then just change direction as you're changing from the in to the out breath. You can also hold your pen at the end so you get a looser kind of line. That works my fine line up with my Posca pen. I think because mine's running out a bit, I need to hold it down, have a bit firmer pressure. Is everybody okay with that kind of idea? Or we're just making some lines with our breath really on the paper at this point. Hey Jean, hi Nancy, hi Jez. So I know I've got a bit of a delay in the comment, but I'm going to kind of assume we're okay with this idea. So I'm going to suggest that you get your paper and the pen that you're using, and I'll do a few, and then we'll kind of aim for maybe 10 or so breaths together, yeah? And see how much that does on your paper. If you want to work smaller, you could work on a triangle, you could work on something half this size. I'm just trying to make sure you can see it well enough because I know the camera's a bit of a way away for small things. Okay, so I'm not going to start with my spiral, but you absolutely can. So you start your in-breath in the middle of the spiral and come round and out until you're ready to breathe out and then create your line. I'm just going to carry on from here with my in and out breaths. So I'm going to start with that in-breath. So in. And out. And in. And out. My Posca pen is being a pain. I think it's because I just left it sat there for a minute, so I'm just going to grab a different one. And in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. I've kind of joined to mine there, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to this spiral. I'm just going to do another in-breath there and do about 5 more in and out breaths with this little bit. just going to do my last breath in and out now. And you can see we've got some lovely lines on there. And you could come back to this and keep adding lines to it. So I'm just going to wait just a little bit until people say, yep, I'm ready for that next bit. And I might do a very quick kind of in-breath and some lines over here for myself. So if you finish doing that, if you could just pop me up, yes, I'm ready, or I'm ready to move on, or all good, or just something to let me know, that'd be awesome. Jan, it's good to see you. We're just doing a little bit of a breathing exercise. So we start with an in-breath in the middle of a spiral. And as you breathe in, you draw the spiral with that in-breath. When you get to the point of needing to breathe out, you pull a line up from it, and that's your out-breath. And then as you need an in-breath, you come down. And then out again. And you just repeat that. Just being able to focus on your breath and the line. And I'm feeling quite unsettled. And for me, I'm feeling a bit more settled now. So what I did then as my next thing was I grabbed a brush. And it can be any brush. Literally, I've just grabbed a brush. And this one's like the number 10 round. And I grabbed a colour. I'm just going to grab the colours that I was using. Because I'm using up some of my colours. I'm on a mission to use them up. So I've got a Payne's Grey. I've got kind of a deep blue that's called Faience Blue. I've got a little bit of Cenarius Blue, it's kind of a mid blue. Another little mid blue. And then this one, which is like a cobalt violet-y kind of colour. So I mixed myself up just a little bit of them like this. And I sometimes just use them straight from the pan too, and the, you know, and that's fine. So with this one, it tends to come straight from the pan because there's lots of room in there. So just give them all a little bit of a wet. So I am ready to go. And then I think what I did, grab some of the colour, and I picked a spot. And awesome. Yeah, I think most people are kind of ready. So we've done our breathing with the lines and created that. And then I just did a circle for my in-breath and went over it. And pressed my brush down so I got a nice big circle like that. And then when I was ready for my out-breath, just came down. And then I did it again. They're kind of like P's or 9s. Grabbed a different colour, did my circle next to it. Another colour. And you do them next to each other so they bleed. And out. And I just kept doing that until I felt like I was in a place where I was ready for bed at this point. Was when I did the triangle, but now so until I'm ready to paint. And I'm really kind of doing the whole observing with curiosity thing now and sinking into that, and there's less focus on my breathing really. I can kind of go and just follow some inclinations if I want to, or I can keep focusing on my breath. So just squash the brush down so you get a nice big circle and then just come down. It doesn't matter if it's pale or it's dark, it's all good. And then just pop another circle in that goes next to that if you can, so the colours get a chance to bleed and play together. I want to get a little bit of a darker version of this colour. Ooh, that was a big splodge. Bigger than I intended, but it will be fine. I really quite like it having intense colours. I'll try a little bit of this one. These are paints I'm just trying to use up that sit on the top of my palette, so. And I like the overlapping kind of feeling of them. I'd quite like to have some circles a bit lower down here as well though, so I'm going to pop some of those there. And with those I can pull down, or I can pull the line up if I want to. How's everybody finding this as a little warm-up exercise to get them into the kind of mood for creating. This isn't at all about creating something pretty or anything other than enjoying the process. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to actually add some Payne's grey as well. I do love Payne's grey. So just if you concentrate on your breath, you can concentrate on your breath. If you're finding now you kind of getting into that lovely mindful feel, then it's a lovely chance to kind of approach with curiosity and play and see what happens with these colours as they're together. And your circles don't have to be big, they can be small. And you can use the tip of your brush to kind of do the circle if you want to, or you can use the tip of your brush to pull down. I love the addition of the Payne's grey, it's quite fun. I've got some paint on my other page, but that's okay. So just breathing along with it and kind of link it. The idea behind it is linking your breath with what your brush or your pen is doing, just in some different ways. And just letting you focusing on your breathing, be kind of in control of your breathing, which is sometimes really good if you're feeling quite heightened. Like I know my breathing was much faster when I started than it is now. So you get this kind of a loveliness. You can obviously leap into your palette of colours if you want something a bit different and you're not losing up like me. You know, don't feel that you've got to stick with one lot. You can also add lovely spirals just to kind of feel the movement of them and breathe with them. Just as you're doing the lines. Oh, I'm glad you're finding it relaxing, Jan. Thank you for that. So at this point now you can dry it, and we've probably got time to dry ours, I think. So I'm going to give it a blast with the heat gun while you're finishing up yours. And I'll just show you very quickly what you can move on to do with the gold pen if you want to finish it off. But in all honesty, this kind of activity is the kind of thing I'd just do to start. I'd keep some pieces of paper in a stack. They would become things I could use for collage or work on afterwards, or just because this was for me to get me in the right place to start doing our butterflies together. So you can see it's dry-ish is how I'd describe it. That bit's not dry at all. Hang on, let's just blot there. There we go. It's dry-ish, and you can see we've got something kind of close to that in terms of like the general thing. And the only thing I've done on the triangle is I've grabbed a gold Signo Uniball pen and I've just picked some of the circles to pick out and to put a loose double line on. And again, it's about just following your inclination, and again you can follow these lines with your breath. I quite like doing 3 breaths and keeping it going, so I'm just doing gentler breathing and doing 3 of them, but just keeping the circle going for all 3. And I really do like slowing my pen down, because when I'm feeling a little bit more kind of on edge or twitchy, slowing my pen down helps. And you can add whatever patterns and things that you like. You might want to add little dashes between some of those lines just for fun. You can obviously see how you could really sink into just creating this page now. And adding things to it, but its purpose is kind of served for me now. However, I could come back to it another time and do the breathing thing and add gold pen on the top. I could add marks and do a similar kind of thing with linking the marks with my breathing. I could just have a collection of them for when I'm in the mood for adding little marks to things. You know, sometimes that's what you want, that's what you need, that's what is helping you to be in the present moment and not to have your mind thinking about things that have gone on or that might be coming up next, or conversations that you've had, or what's going to happen with things, that you're able to just be with this moment. So I am going to give you a little bit of time if you want to add gold to yours or to try them. You let me know when you are ready to go on to the next bit, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to tidy up this little bit here on the edge of my page if I can, which I may not be able to. I can take some of it off, I think, like that, and then I'm just going to use my Tiffy. I just want to make it a bit paler on both sides if I can, because I don't mind the splodges, but if it's very dark it'll draw my eye, so I'm just going to do that. Oops, I think my there we go. And then I am going to grab that black Posca pen again because I need that for butterflies. I'm also going to grab a little bit of blue tack to see if I can hold this page down, and maybe some washi tape might do it, because it's going to keep popping. Oh, I know what I can do. I'll put my palette that side and this side. So all I did, Jane, was I just grabbed my gold pen and said that if you wanted to carry on now, if you felt you needed more, you could then do the same thing and just add some circles in gold pen, just really loose ones. So I simply was just doing about 3 breaths and doing the circles really loosely like this, and just trying to slow them down just a little bit so that the slowness really helps me. You might find that for you it doesn't make any difference. And then I was saying that for me it's really served its purpose. I'm feeling much more settled and kind of centred and grounded and ready to go on to the next part. If I wasn't, then I would probably carry on adding. I might put more paint on. I would certainly maybe go into this and add in some lines and marks, and just, you know, being very deliberate, I think is the word, kind of placing them with deliberateness, not racing through to fill it, but enjoying the process and being present with making the mark on the paper and seeing how it looks, so that it's not about finishing and the end product, it's just about the feeling of that mark, that pull of it, and seeing it on the paper. But for me, I'm feeling really ready to move on to butterflies. So I'll give you a little bit of time if you want to do anything more, or if you want to keep working on this and you don't want to do butterflies, absolutely go for that, and I will talk butterflies and you can listen to me waffle on and see what I'm doing and come back to the butterflies another time. But I just wanted to show you that this is another way of getting ready. You can actually get ready for Mindful Watercolours by doing Mindful Watercolours, which is quite cool. And I find that exercise of just breathing with my pen line and breathing with my brush stroke something that really helps me. So if you liked it and you think it's something that's quite good, I shall probably go away and try and think of some different ways of doing it, because variety is also good. So our aim for our butterflies is to create something that doesn't require us to be super pernickety. So I went looking in journals and I found, what did I find? I found these guys. They're awesome and I love doing them like this, but you have to draw them first and I have to make sure that they are symmetrical, which is a whole process in itself, and then they've got lots of detailing to them. And obviously in the time we've got in our life, that might be a bit much. These are done in a similar kind of way, and then adding detailing on the top, but a bit less meticulous, but still symmetrical. And so this was my starting point when I was thinking about how do I do butterflies but have it in alive. Again, you can see this kind of patterns and dots. And so I had a bit of a think, and another bit of think, and a little bit of a play, and what I came up with was, oops, there we go, for these guys. So what I've tried to make them vaguely symmetrical, and you'll notice there are some splodges. It's because I did something else on the back, because this was just a practice. I think the process is one that we could make work and do in the time we've got, depending on the size of page. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did this. Black Posca pen can be any kind of black that won't run if water goes on it. So a black China-graph pencil would probably work. A coloured crayon like Prismacolor, or what's the Faber-Castell one? I've forgotten what they're called. Hang on, is that one? Yes, it is. Polychromos. A standard school crayon would probably do it, I think. Hi, Manon. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It will be up as a replay, yeah, absolutely. So any black fine liner that doesn't run with water. If you need to test it, a scrap bit of paper and put a line on and take a brush across it. If it runs a little bit, try another line, heat gun it, and then a brush of water across it just to make sure. So I just drew the middle bits, and the middle bits really are essentially a curvy bit that comes down to a kind of tapered point. So a really long kind of teardrop, if you can see that. Like that. And then I coloured that in black. And that was my first step. I'm going to need to change my glasses in a second because I haven't, and I can see myself going outside the line. And then I put 2 antennae on, and I just did a line and a circle at the end. And I didn't worry too much about them being perfect. I'm just grabbing my glasses, guys, because I need some. That's better. And then I just did them. I kind of imagine where the wings would go kind of there, so I can pop another one maybe here. And I might do a shorter body this time that's a little bit smaller. And again, I filled that body in with black and popped on the antennae. So that's really our first step, is to go over our page and put the butterfly bodies at different angles and different sizes. You can make them longer or shorter, you can make them wider or narrower with the antennae on, and get those onto our page first. So it's a bit like a carrot shape, I think, isn't it, that I'm using, really. There we go, let's just get that there. Excuse me. I think it's warm and quite dry in the living room. I have to have a sip of pop. There we go. And their little antennae can go on. And then I'm going to pop another one here, I think. I reckon maybe 5 or 6 on this page to start with. I can always go back and add more if I want to. I'm kind of assuming from the lack of comments that everybody's getting stuck in. I might have made these antennae a bit long for that butterfly, but it's okay. I think I shall pop one here. That's quite a long one, but quite thin. It's got a very thin body there. And a little antennae. And I think I'm going to do quite a small one just here. Like that. And he can have little antennae. 2, 3, I prefer odd numbers, so I'm looking to see if I can fit a 7th one in, and I'm thinking those wings will go there, so if I put one here, one of his wings may well go off the page, but he should still fit. So there we go. And that's my 7 little butterflies. Bodies all ready. So I'm going to let you guys and let me know when you are ready. If there's anybody who's not creating along with us and doing the butterflies, and if you've got any questions or you just want to say hi, please do. And if you can hear my washing machine trying to take off, I'm really sorry. I was too warm to shut the living room door and the living room windows. I'm grabbing out some of my smaller brushes, just getting ready. Oh, it really is going to take off. So I've got a number 4 round, a 3 and a 0 spotter, and then I probably want something that I can do just something a little bit finer with. So let's have a first over here. That was very fine. I've got something in between that. I don't tend to use this brush, and I'm not sure why. So I'm just going to dig it out and see why I don't use it. It's a 2.0, and then this one's a 10.0. So I've just grabbed a selection of brushes that I like, really. Oh, okay. I'm glad it's not as loud for you, because honestly, it's like I'm next to an aeroplane. It's even making me feel the vibrations. So you guys, are you ready to move on to the next bit and start doing our wings? Could maybe mix up some pools of colour. I've got an old brush lurking over here, so I'm going to go for probably pinky purples and blues, because I'm liking those a lot. So I'm using an old brush to pick it up and go for that. That looks very close to kind of a quinacridone magenta colour. It's just a little bit maybe more pinky. I like that, so I'm going to mix some of that up and pop that with some water. Okay, awesome, Jane. I will mix up my little pots of colour slowishly, and then I'm thinking I really love this faience blue that we used earlier, so I'm going to use some of that in here. I'm just going to mix up some more of that, and then I think I want some, I don't know what I want. Maybe I want that one. Do I want that one? Yeah, I do. I like that one. It's kind of still a warm purple, but it's a bit more purpley than that. So I'm just going to grab me some colours that I fancy. I'm picking them so that if I mix them, they're all colours that will make purples. So if you want to do orange butterflies, you'd pick red, yellows and oranges. If you want to do green butterflies, which would look gorgeous, you could pick blues, yellows and greens. So just pick colours that when they mix together, you're going to get either a purple, a green or an orange, not you've got all 3 primary colours and you're going to get a brown. I'm going to grab another blue, I think. There's a couple of blues that I really like. I think this one is one that I really like over here. Oh, that's very similar to that. That's probably why I like it so much. What about that one? Yeah, use that one. So I am going to put that in a different one, because otherwise I'm just going to get that darker blue again. This is a phthalo blue, like a red or a green shade, I'm not sure which. And then in this one I'm actually going to get some more of my Payne's grey, so that I can use that if I want to. And then the other colour that I really love to use when I'm using pinks and purples is Opera Rose, which is a really vivid pink, and I've got a couple of different brands. This one I think is the Sennelier brand, and it's nearly used up, so I'm going to poke some of that in. But if I can get my Daniel Smith one to be wet enough. It's got a hole right in the middle of it, and I've gone all the way through. It's even more intense, if you can see the difference. Even though they're the same pigment, I love the intensity that it's like. It's fluorescent. I wonder maybe if Daniel Smith put something in so that it is fluorescent, or that I've dirtied my Sennelier one with a little bit of blue. But that really bright pink. Winsor & Newton is much more like the Daniel Smith one. So it could be because it's a honey binder in Sennelier, and that influences the colour. I don't know. I just know the Daniel Smith one's my favourite. So I've got some colours mixed up, and they're watery-ish. I've got a tissue in case I need it, and I'm going to start just popping on a fairly light version of their wings, and I'm going to pick up just a colour. And the way I was doing the wings, to be honest, that I liked, was to do a kind of almost a triangle, and then I'd fill that shape in with that colour, and then try and do a similar triangle the other side, but I wouldn't be too super fussy about it. So as long as it's roughly right and it's not drawing my eye that they're different. That's how I judge it. So I did that, and I did the top wings on each one, and then I did the bottom wings. But what I found was I quite liked having the two wings the same colour. So I'm actually going to try and just put the bottom wing on. You can see I put that at a slightly different angle, like that. And then I'm going to try and mimic that over here. And they're just slightly rounded triangles is what I'm using. Now you can obviously go for curvier shapes, whatever you really like, but that was the shape that I found that I really liked. So that's what I'm going to start with, and then I might have a little bit of a play. And then I'm just going to try and see if I can drift. I think this one, the top one has dried, so I'm just going to get a tiny bit of paint and water on my brush, just re-wet it and just spread that around so that they're both wet at the same time, and do the same for this one at the top. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of this darker purple here, and just, don't want too much on my brush, just a little bit, and just touch it to where the wings would kind of meet the body. If it's not spreading as much as I would like, then I will go back and have another look. Right here it's not spreading, so I've got a very wet brush, so I'm just going to touch it to the paper towel so that I've just got a little bit. I'm actually thinking that I might like a little bit of Payne's grey. So I'm going to do it this side, because that side is, and I'm just touching to move it around, just like wetting, having a little bit of a play to see what I can do. I'm making sure the wing is wet all the way to the edge. Oops, never mind. It still looks good. There we go. And then I'm just going to drop a little bit here and do the same kind of thing, just to make it a little bit darker near the wings if I can. And you don't have to do that on everyone, it's just if you want to play with doing some wetting wet, you can. So I'm probably going to have a go at this one. I'm going to need to turn my page. It's much easier if you kind of turn that body so it's straight onto you, so you can really see the wings, is what I found. So I'm going to grab some of this lighter blue. So I've basically got a lighter mid and a dark blue, and a light, a mid and a darker purple. So I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to add on a wing, but I don't really want it to touch that wing unless it has to. So I'm just going to take it round a little bit like that. This is dry enough for me to go round. If you find you're hitting a wing, it might not be dry enough. Come back to it in a little bit, or give it a blast on your heat gun. And pop that one on, and then I'm going to pop something a similar size. So I'm just looking to make it come out the same kind of distance really. This side might be a little bit longer than that side, or slightly different. So all I do is have a little look, and I'm actually looking straight down on it if I can, so I'm not at an angle. And then I'm actually going to grab a little bit of this, and I'm just going to see if I can drip that into there while that top one's wet. And hopefully that should move along that wing where it's wet. We'll see. And then I'm going to have a little look at popping in bottoms. So again, just a rounded kind of triangle shape. Like that. That one's nice and wet, so now might be a really good time to pop in a little bit of that. So I'm just going to drip it in. I think I might have used the wrong pink, they're all a different pink. I'm just going to pop that in like that. And I'll go and do blue on the other side. And I'm kind of trying to match this angle, so I'm imagining a line going up there, and if it came out this side, it would kind of be about there. And then just using that to just kind of eyeball them. Now you can just do a butterfly on its side. Don't think I did any of those. And then grab a bit of this, one of my purpley colours, and pop that in. And then we've got two. I think I'm going to go to this one next. Hi Felicia. Hello, Yvette. I missed you there. It snuck in the middle, bless you. How are we finding doing these, guys? If you get little lines like this and you don't like them, a damp brush and just wet, just ever such a slightly damp brush, just so you can make the water come just to the edge and you can soften that line out. I'm going to do the same over here. So this is too wet straight from a water pot, so touch it, and then I tend to start away from the edge that I want to soften and then just come into it, because then I can move it into somewhere that's wet a little bit, and it's just lightly little dabby squiggles with your brush is the best way I can describe it. So I'm going to go to this one, and I'm dying to use this Opera Rose because I love this colour. So again, it's just the same kind of idea of these triangles. I'm going to do a bigger one on the top this time. And by sticking to the same shape, you're helping yourself to get more of a feel for it, which will make it start to have more of a sense of ease. How are you today, Felicia? I'm not sure where in the world you are actually, whether it's an evening for you or an afternoon. I'm just going to slightly square that off a bit more so it matches this other one. I think I went a bit too rounded then. And again, like I said, you do kind of have to almost stick your head over the top of them so you're looking down to see if they're fairly even. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of this, and I am going to... No, I'm not actually, because I can tell that wing is drying really fast because it's warmer here today than it was yesterday. So I'm just going to put a bottom wing on, like that, and just fill it in. Because we're going to do some glazing on these, so, you know, I don't have to do the wetty wet if I don't want to, or if it's drying really fast for me. Because I'm going to glaze on top of them, I know that I'm going to be adding patterns and things like that to them. So, put that line in. There's a slightly different angle, but I'm okay with that. So I'll tell you I was using a number 4 round. I think I did. So that lovely pink one's there. I'm going to go for a dark blue one, or a middle blue one. I'm just going to do this little one here. Just checking you guys can still see me over the top of the phone. There we go, and pop that in there. So it's almost a straight line on the top. And then coming down. Now, I know I've just painted this one, but it is drying so fast that as long as I'm very careful, it's not going to go into there, I don't think. Now that side might be a little bit shorter. I'm just going to have a little look and see. I think that's okay actually. Grab another little bit of that. And I'm just going to put some there while it's still wet. And then do the bottom wings. And I am sticking to them being the same colour because I found that yesterday when I did them different colours, I actually preferred them to be the same colour. You can obviously, if you want to try, paint your top wings and then go back and paint your bottom wings. So I'll grab a little bit of my Payne's grey. I'm just going to try dripping a little bit of that in right by the body, just so I get a little bit of kind of variation. And I can see that my water's stopping about here. I'll go back in with a damp brush and just soften that out a little bit, pull it to the edge so that the Payne's grey has got something wet and watery that it can travel along. And then I'm going to actually add a little bit more Payne's grey hopefully to here, and just bring it out a little bit if I can. Make sure there's some on this bottom wing as well. Okay, I'm going to turn it round again. Oh no, I can do this one actually. I think this one was that one. I think I might need to put that very vivid pink somewhere else, so I'm going to pop it there because I think it will look really nice next to this kind of purple, but a bit smaller this time. And I'm going to do my top triangle like that, and I'll just mirror that on the other side. And I'm actually going to see if I can, yeah, drip in, so I'll get a really intense bit of pink there by the body. Yes, that's lovely. And then I'm going to do a littler triangle if I can, I think, going down there like that. And again, I'm going to try and pick up some of that pigment just with my brush and just drip it in while it's still wet. Now I'm just looking at, that's that kind of an angle, I think. That needs to be a bit fatter. Let's see when it's filled in. I think that's okay. They're a little bit different, but they're going to be a little bit different. I'm okay with that, with this style of butterfly. So we've got two more. We've got this little guy here and this little guy here. Now he's almost definitely needing to be a blue, I think. So I'm going to do him in this lighter blue. And he's going to need to either go behind that, or he's going to need to go behind that wing, because I don't want him to go in front. So I'm going to go up to the wing, and I'm going to bring the wing out here, so I can just very carefully just go along the edge. Now I'm not glazing it over the top, because you'll see the pink through. Whilst it might be fun to try glazing them over each other, for what I want to do today, I'm happy with going round. That's the edge of my paper there, so I'm just taking that wing just to the edge of my paper, even though you can see I've got a double page. I'm treating this as just one side, and I'm going to drop in a little bit there. I'm going to wait for this to dry a bit more and see what happens, and then I'm going to pop in my other triangle here, and you can see what happens when they join is that the water kind of gets pulled down into the second one, so you end up having to go back and drip in a little bit more colour if you want that intense colour near the body. And then I'm going to do the same here. You can see for that one, because it goes off the page, it's just like part of a triangle. And then I'm again, oh, wrong one, going to try and drip some in. But I think this one, it's a bit darker already, so I'm just going to wait until that dries a little bit and see how that is. And then the last one is this guy here, and I'm thinking I'm going for this colour, so I'm going to take a triangle there, and you can see just touched. I'm just going to fill that in, and I'm going to add a little bit of this purple near the body. I might add a little bit of a blue in a second. So again, I'm going to try and mirror that shape, and I'm looking at how long this line is to there and how long this one kind of goes. I'm getting the angle about the same, and then it's just eyeballing to make it long enough. And honestly, as long as they're about the same, I don't think it will particularly be something that will draw your eye. And that's what you're looking for. You're kind of looking for, if one of them is long enough that it keeps drawing your attention, go back and have a little look and see what you can do. But sometimes with things like this, you have to accept they're not going to be entirely symmetrical. Now, I didn't put the other one there, and I think it's dried too fast, so I'll stick this one on and then go back and see what I can do about that. So this one's going to come down here, and it's going to come down here, and it's going to go there, so I'm going to need to just go around this bright pink. I'm going to apologise for my washing machine because I can feel it shaking my desk, so it may well shake the camera. So I'm really loving this pattern that I've ended up with on here. So I'm just re-wetting this with just a watery bit of that colour that I was using. Then I'm going to pick up the second colour that I dripped in and pop that in, just like that. I'm going to drip it back in here as well and see what happens there. And those are all my butterflies kind of all put in. So I need to dry mine, you're going to need to dry yours, and then we can start having a think about adding some patterns and some glazing, and then maybe some botanicals to go in between with them, just some really nice simple kind of leaf shapes. So while I'm doing that, if you've got any questions, if there's anything you found tricky, anything at all that you want to pop up with, please do. Oh, I'm glad you like opera pink too, Nancy. I'm spreading it around the world, a person at a time. Soon it will be everybody's favourite pink. So I'm guessing that you're all going to need to dry yours. So is it better if I just pause for a minute and wait for you to tell me when you're ready to start going again? I think Jane, Erica, Yvette, Nancy, Bernie, were you painting along as well? Jez, were you painting along? Nancy? I think you were definitely going along with us. Nancy Ewing and Nancy Dow. It's two Nancys. It's confusing for my brain. I think you guys were all kind of painting along. I know, whenever I send little paint presents to people, I always sneak in a bit of Opera Rose. It's my plan to take over the world. Would you believe that I actually hated pink and refused to use it pretty much in my paintings for many years? For the same reason I hated flowers. It's not a good reason. Now I like pink and I'm trying to like flowers. So Bernie's drying, Jez is drying, Nancy is all dry. Nancy Dale, I think, is probably either painting along and is all ready. Let's see. So Jane, are you okay if we carry on? Because we can stop and chat for a bit if you want us to. Hi Harriet. I'll just wait to see if Jane wants us to pause for a bit and have a little bit of a conflab about something. And a chat. I could show you my new pens that arrived today. I ordered them ages ago. And they arrived today. I might use them to do some of the detailing. Oh, I think Harriet went to get... Harriet, you still there? Harriet, we've been creating these butterflies. So what we did was, with a Posca pen or something that the water... Awesome, Jane. You rock. We drew a butterfly body. I'll see if I can swish one in here to show you the kind of process from start to finish, if that's all right with everybody. So, oh, that's my nasty Posca pen. It doesn't have to be a Posca pen. Anything that's not going to get wet with water. So, a black pencil crayon would do it brilliantly. A biro even. So, you basically draw a kind of tear-shaped body like this. It's a bit pointy at the end. You colour it in. You give it two antennae, which is a line with a circle on the end. Dead easy. Then I'm using a number 4 round, but any brush that you like that works. I mixed up blues. So I've got a mid blue, a light blue, a dark blue. That one's Payne's grey. That one's Faience blue. I can't remember what that one was. And then I picked the same 3 pinky purple, so I've got a very bright pink there. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to pop it in, I think, with this blue, because I've got the most of it left. And we're doing triangular kind of shaped wings. So watery mix of paint, because you can always make it dark and making it light as hard in watercolours. And then fill that kind of triangle in. I'm going to add a little bit of this kind of purple just here by the body to let it spread out, hopefully. And then do the same the other side. And I think it's going to crash a little bit with this pink one, which is fine. Where I meet it, I'll just stop. If I go too much into that pink one, I can use the tissue to just lift it off a little bit. And then I'm just going to fill that bit in. Now, I think that probably needs to be a little bit longer and go more there. And then the shape feels like they're fairly matching to me. So I'm going to grab another little bit of that purpley colour and drip that in. Excuse me if I'm sniffing. My hay fever's up and down all over the place. Another little triangle here. One that matches over here. Fill them in. Now you're all ahead of me because I have to dry this one. There we go. Just make that one a little bit longer. And again, I'm going to grab a little bit of this mid kind of purple that I was using and drip it in, just to let it be darker. And that is the whole process. If they're wonky, Jez, awesome. Hi Kirsten, how are you? I'm just going to give that one a quick dry. Okie dokie. I'll try and remember to do that one last. So we're going to look at adding some glazing to these now. So we've done our bodies, put on our kind of triangle-y wings, and we're going to add some glazing. So I'm going to switch to a zero spotter. And with the glazing, you can use whichever of your colours you've got some left of, or you can mix up some new splodgelets of them. So I'm going to mix up a little bit more of this one because I've run out. And I'm going to just grab a little bit more of the Opera Rose. I'm not sure how much I use it because it is quite pale, but it can be really fun to completely go over a wing. So there's a couple of things that you can do when you're glazing. One of them that's really lovely is that you kind of do the wing tips. So put a line here. Now when you're glazing, you're aiming not to disturb the paint that's underneath. It doesn't matter hugely because we've not got salt or patterns or anything like that, but it's still nice to do it really gently, so you're kind of stroking it on. So you can add really simple glazed wing tips to them like this. You alright, Watson? Watson's making a weird little huffy noise and I'm not sure why. You can also do a similar thing and add kind of a stripe. I'll make that a little bit thicker and put two next to each other. Like that. We're nearly out of time, guys. That really has flown. So you can do these kind of stripy malarkeys. And I'm going to do a similar thing here. I'm going to do a little stripe here. And here. And then here. So I've got 3 stripes. And then I'm going to just do that darker wing tip. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is kind of add leafy botanicals, which I really enjoy doing. So I'm just guesstimating where that one would be. So I'll stick with using this mid blue, this faience blue. And I'm going to go for this one. You use as fine a brush as you need to. I'm using the tip of my brush. I'm not putting too much paint on it. And I'm pulling a line out from the body nearly to the end. When I get close to the end, I just put a stylised kind of leaf shape on there. And then I start back here and I draw pairs of leaves. And if I need to make that centre line darker, I can just go over it. And then do it again here and again here. And I'm just letting the size of the wing dictate how far out my leaf comes. And then I quite like to put a little pair of leaves up here by that top one sometimes. Just want to try that. And then just do the same thing on the other side to make it match-ish. So a line, leaf to be at the end at the tip, and then I'm going to start from top this time. I think it's quite fun if I angle up slightly. I quite like that. There we go. And all the way down. And then you could do the same on the bottom wing if you wanted to, or you could use those stripy wing tips. I think I'm actually going to go for doing that top bit there darker. I want to define this wing shape here, and then I am going to leave a gap and put a stripe there, maybe put a stripe there, and then do one darkened wing tip, and I'll just do that to match on the other side. So I've got a thickish stripe there, a thickish stripe there, and I've got a darkened kind of wing tip shape. Like that. And you can see they're starting to build up now with the glazing that we're putting on them. And so that is the next step. Hi Heather, hi Tanya. And really, the only other thing I did that I tried out that I really quite liked, okay, I'll try it on my upper rows and see how it works, is you do the central line, and then you draw a leaf shape in, and you put the stylized kind of vein lines that you would put in. Then the rest of the leaf, all the way outside, around the outside, you glaze over so that it is darker. There you go. Now it's quite a big kind of difference in colour on the opera rose. You can really see it. I think if I'd have done it maybe on this blue one, you'd have got a much more subtle effect. But I do know that if I were to add some gold detailing and white spots, if you see like it is on this one, that would kind of probably bring that together. So I need to do the same on the other side. So really, what you need to do now is kind of go crazy, glazing whatever things you fancy glazing onto your wings. It is lovely to, I don't know whether it should be see you, hear you, Tanya, whichever's the right one, it's that. We did a lovely warm up. For anybody who's just popping in now, I think we did a really lovely warm up that we all enjoyed. That helped to get us settled and in the right kind of place for doing art. That is definitely worth checking out once we pop this up as the replay. And I really enjoyed it. It really helped me to get into the right kind of place. Jane, yay, well done. You are working hard tonight. Yeah, I think, Nancy, it's interesting, isn't it, to put leaves onto them. I quite like putting botanical leaves onto lots of things at the moment. I have some tortoises that I'm putting leaves onto. I've got some plans for sloths as well. They're quite interesting to me at the moment. I feel like I need to do something that's quite heavy on this blue glaze down here, because otherwise those wings just feel like they don't go together. So I'm probably gonna go for the stripes here, and then I think I'm going to go for a long kind of leaf like that, and then do another one here. And I'm hoping that that is going to be enough when I put the blue on, that it kind of makes them feel like they've got a similar amount of blue on. If not, we'll just have to see when we come to adding detail into it. There we go. Yeah, I think maybe I need to make all of that the dark blue. Yeah, that feels better, I think. And then get those matching leaves going up. Hey Sherlock, what are you doing? What you doing? Says I'm waiting for fuss. Where's my fuss? Put them down this side first. There we go. Last one on there. And you can see they're kind of starting to come together as this lovely little set of butterflies. Don't think I'm going to have enough time to finish these tonight. Do you feel like you've got enough ideas to be able to finish your butterflies off from that now? I will finish them probably tomorrow, and I'll show you just how I put the leaves in. And the mark making really is, if you want to, I basically added some dots and stripes, or we could carry on with it next time. Let me know what you kind of think, because I am very aware that we are going past 8 o'clock now. And obviously I'm in my living room, so people want to use the living room, so I'm feeling a bit kind of, although they would all understand and be lovely about it, I feel like it's only fair. So Bernie, I just got yes to all of it. do you think so? Oh yeah, you think you've got enough ideas for this so I could go on to the next bit? Got you. Okay, I'll show you how I do the leaves, and then on one of the butterflies that's the driest, I'll show you how I might do some of the detailing, so you've got all the bits that you need to be able to go away and finish it if you've got time to do it now, or tomorrow when you have time. So switching back to that number 4 round, and I tend to use the colours that I've got, and I either mix them together or I mix up one of them that I've used in most of my butterflies. I'm actually going to go for a mixture of probably the Faience and the Payne's Grey. And it is very much like what we just did. Basically, you look at where you've got a gap. So I've got quite a big gap here, and I've got another one over here, and maybe here. And without too much paint on your brush, you go in and you draw kind of a curvy line that comes through, and you draw a leaf shape onto the end. Really stylised leaf shape. If you want to do them more rounded, you can. And then you can decide, well, how do I want these to be? So I need these to have quite little leaves, otherwise they're going to hit the butterflies, and it's easier for me if they're alternate, so they go a leaf on one side and a leaf on the other, and get bigger as they go down, because then they are filling that space for me, like that. It's also quiz night with my sister, and I don't want to miss that, and she'll be cross if I'm super late. Well, she won't be cross, she's very understanding actually, but I'll feel bad. So here I'm feeling like I've got a gap that's going in here, so I might put one in like that, and again do those pointed kind of leaf shapes, and I've angled them up quite a bit so that I could get in to this gap because it's quite narrow. Now you could do these in different colours, you could graduate the colours if you wanted to. It's Tuesday night that's quiz night, Nancy. Yeah, Thursday night's clapping, but that's, you know, only for a minute or two. And then here, I feel like what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to have the tip. So I'm just going to pop it like that. And I'm going to do pop the pairs of leaves like that. Although, Nancy, to be honest, with how confused I've got about which day is what, I'm surprised I even remembered it was quiz night tonight. There we go. So you can see that's how you can kind of go in and start filling in some of those little spaces that are drawing your eye. You You can also see this one here. This one's really drawing my eye, and I haven't got room for a whole stem. So you can just go in and pop a leaf in. As long as you do that somewhere else, so it's not the only leaf on its own. So I'll pop a little leaf here, and I might pop a little leaf here. So as long as you repeat it in different places, it will pull it all together. Then for the detail bit, you want it to be super duperly dry. I had these fun things today, so I might try out some of these. I've got they're Signo Uniball pens. They're a set of metallic ones, and they are 0.8 millimeters. I'm trying to see what it says on them. It doesn't really tell me anything more than that, I don't think. From Amazon. They took ages to arrive, so I'd forgotten I'd ordered them round about my birthday. So I'm thinking I might use these to add a little bit of detail. Also the trusty white Posca pen. Now, that one's probably the driest, so we'll go with that one. So my very first inclination is white dots. And I'm going to do... And you know me, I could probably be quite happy with just using white dots everywhere because I love white dots. But I am also going to have a look. Now I don't know how this pink is going to show up, so let's see. Oh, it's quite subtle but lovely. So I'm drawing leaf shapes but without the middles. So just kind of stylised leaf shapes along there, and this is a metallic pink, so works well with this colour scheme. And I can do the same on these ones, and then here I could just do the tops. And the one thing I'm noticing with that particular one is there's not really definition there. My favourite way of doing that, and I didn't do this on the other ones, is to grab out like a soft B pencil. I'd go for about a 6B, and then a little pencil blending stump, and on this bottom one just add a little bit of shading near the body, really lightly, and then just use the pencil blending stump to smudge it and to bring it down a ways so it's not got any hard lines. And then suddenly, without needing to do outlining or anything, you start to bring those wings out. And if you want to bring them out, make it more defined and make it darker there, you just go back in with a bit more pencil, and then back in with your pencil blending stump, and you just keep repeating that process. Don't be too hard on your paper when you're rubbing to do that. The other way to do it would have been to outline, maybe with that pink pen, if I preferred to do that. So that is kind of where we go when they're full. The other thing we can do that is quite fun is we can just add dots or stripes to the bodies. And I do like putting little circles in the antennae, just little details, whatever makes your heart kind of sing. You can see on here I played around with actually drawing over, because I was working on it, I didn't wait for these to dry and I didn't heat gun them well enough so my leaves bled. So I just went over those shapes loosely with some gold lines, and then I played around with adding dots to see how I liked that. And I used this as a place to experiment. I still think it's lovely, but the second time I did it I had more formed ideas, which is kind of how it works. So I hope that has given you lots of lovely inspiration, and you feel like you could get really stuck into creating your own page of butterflies. I would really love it if you'd post them up in any of the groups, or if you post them on your own page, tag me in either as Ray Creates or Rachel Kentish, and that would be absolutely awesome. It's been lovely spending time with you tonight. I hope you all have lovely ends of your days if you're in the UK like me, or beginnings or middles or wherever you are. So big hugs, take care, see you very soon. Haha, lunchtime is perfect. You could have some lunch and then come back to them, Nancy. You are welcome, Nancy D. I quite like that, Nancy D. Thank you. You are welcome, Yvette. I am hanging on because all of you said thank you last time and I felt really rude just popping off without saying thank you back. Thank you so much for coming, Erica. It is so lovely to be able to connect and do some painting together. And I really appreciate it. Thank you, Jez. I need luck. We didn't do that well last week. But mainly because we had spelling errors. I'm going to be honest, I had some typos. You are more than welcome, Bernie. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to see what you guys all create. Right, I am going to pop off now, I think. Have lovely evenings with your flutterbys or whatever else it is that you are doing. This will go up as a replay on the group.